Hi, welcome to Forex In Four. I'm Mike Conlon for FXEDU, and in the next 4 minutes, I'm going to show you the highlights of where the action is in today's Forex market. So let's get started.
Good morning. Today is Friday, May 13th, 2011. Ooh, Friday the 13th. Be careful out there. This morning I'm talking about down but not out. And what I'm referring to is the euro. Yesterday we had a little bit of a wild ride in the markets. If you recall from yesterday's blog in the morning, things looked very dire and grim. Markets had been selling off. We had commodities down. We had all stock futures down. We had a lot of dollar strength. We had yen strength. We had commodity currencies down. All right, and then as the U.S. session opened up and some of the news started hitting the wires, the market totally reversed, went into risk-taking mode, and stocks finished higher, as did commodities. And dollar actually sold off. So you can see yesterday the move that happened here. We had the euro down, tested the support at 141.5. Right, and then we got this nice move higher as the U.S. session went on. Now, the news that came out yesterday about the advanced retail sales, the PPI data, and the initial jobless claims, those were all worse than expected. But I guess the fact that it wasn't so worse than expected, that the market was able to come out and move higher. All right, that's the first proposition. The second proposition is that the market looked at numbers and said, hey, these numbers are kind of bad. Maybe that means we're going to see QE3. So that's another reason to go higher. Either way you look at it, the markets are looking to be able to take risk, in the face of all that's going on. So, we saw this euro debt crisis happening, and there's a meeting next week of EU finance ministers. Hopefully they're going to figure out what's going on with Greece, Ireland, and Portugal, and how to get this debt situation under control. But in the meantime, we're looking at the Eurozone. Euro's trading higher as well today. Right, they had their GDP figures come in, and they came in better than expected. So I think that there was a lot of, thought out there that all of a sudden GDP was going to start contracting, right? But Germany had their GDP figures come in and showed a increase of 1.5%. They were expecting 0.9%. All right, that pushed the year-over-year number up to 5.2% from 4.5% expectation. Even France is higher, 2.2% versus 1.8%, and we're not sure what the French do over there. So we've got the total Eurozone figures. Okay, they come in quarter over quarter up 0.8%, which is 0.2% better than the 0.6% they were expecting, and then the year-over-year figure is at 2.5%, okay, versus an expectation of 2.2%. So it shows that stuff's still happening over in the Eurozone, all right, and GDP figures are growing, which is a good sign for the Eurozone, considering that, we have this debt crisis taking place. So this doesn't take, the rate expectations off the table. Okay, we saw the inflation numbers last time, and people thought, well, you know what, they may not raise rates now because we have, commodity price sell-off going on, and they're going to have declining GDP, so they may hold next time. Well, guess what? Commodity prices are back up a little bit. Not to those extreme levels where they were when things started going parabolic, but gold's back up comfortably over 1,500. Oil's hovering right around 100 right now. All right, and we have expanding GDP in the Eurozone. So the rate hikes may be back on the table, so we're going to keep an eye on that. Now, speaking of GDP figures, we'll take a look at the pound here real quick. The pound was just selling off. Looks like we're trading a tight range here in the pound, about 162.50 up to 163. Okay, now they had their NIESR gross domestic product estimate came out showing that they're expecting growth for the month to be at 0.3%. Okay, which is less than the 0.5% from the previous month. So they're showing declining GDP there. Now, I was expecting this number to come out yesterday morning. I don't know why my calendar had it messed up, but it came out later on. So you can see how this is affecting the pound a little bit here as it's moving back down towards the bottom of the range. Now we have the Aussie. Aussie's doing slightly better. It came up and we just tested the 107 area, pierced it briefly. Okay, we have commodities higher, as I mentioned. So, in light of the employment report we saw yesterday in Australia, things still look pretty good there. And while the RBA may be done hiking rates for a good while here based on, that figure, all right, don't forget that they still have one of the highest interest rate differentials for all of the major pairs out there. So Aussie's still very much in demand. Okay, we have Japanese yen. Let's take a look at that. Yen is strengthened this morning. You can see bounced higher. We had the Nikkei was down overnight, but the other Asian stock indices were up. So I'm not exactly sure what the heck was going on in Japan, but sometimes the yen has this inverse correlation effect with the Nikkei stock market. So stocks are up, Nikkei down, or excuse me, stocks up, yen down, yen up, stocks down. So it was the yen strengthening here. Now they did have a government warning about some of these loans going on, but they're talking about what to do here. Should the Bank of Japan ease further after what happened with the nuclear crisis and the earthquake? And if they do, then they might see begin to start seeing some bubbles happening in the economy. So that's a concern over there in Japan. And other than that, it looks like we're going into the morning with a little bit of mild risk taking going on. You can see that things are pulling back here. Here we got the euro just pulling back now. We're back under 143. We got the Aussie back under 107. All right, so I'm not certain that today is going to set itself up to be a complete risk appetite day. There's still risk in the market. We talk about what's going on with the eurozone. I'm not 100% sure I'd want to be long euros going into the weekend. All right, and we also have the U.S. figures coming out a little bit later this morning. So we're going to see the CPI data from the U.S. coming out. All right, and people are expecting that there's going to be inflation showing, but you have to consider that there's recent commodity sell-off that we've seen are not going to be included in these numbers. So what's going to essentially happen is that when the inflation does hit the tape and the wire, everyone says, oh, we have this higher CPI, everyone's going to look and say, oh, but you know what, that was before oil prices sold off and before gold and silver sold off, so it's not that big of a deal. Let's not worry about it. But we do need to be worried about it. Obviously the difference between the headline and the core, we're going to have to look at that. If you take out food and energy, okay, off the headline, and the core number is still higher, then that could be a concern. So people are going to look at that. And then we also have the University of Michigan consumer confidence figures due out even later in the morning. So, that's going to give us an idea of what's going on here in the U.S. I don't think that the CPI is going to come in any less than expected. It's got to come in more based on what we've seen with prices. Is that going to change next month because of this recent commodity price sell-off we've seen? Well, who knows? But for now, my guess is that let's put it this way. I want to be risk-averse going into the weekend because I just don't know what's going to happen with the Eurozone, okay? And, I think that that may be the play that we see. So yesterday we started off with major risk aversion, flipped it around to risk appetite. This morning we've got risk appetite. Perhaps that's flipping around to risk aversion. So that's what I've got for today, folks. Everyone have a nice weekend and good trading to all.
As always, be sure to check out the written blog at www.fxedu.com to get complete coverage of today's Forex market. If you would like to learn more about how to trade the Forex market from professionals like myself, be sure to check out our affordable Forex trading courses. And if you're already a seasoned professional or aspire to be one, ask us how we can help you achieve your Forex goals. Go to www.fxedu.com to get started today.